all profit is value extraction. And that means that all profit is theft from you.
Corporate America is on welfare, and we've got to get them off welfare.
Last words on my lips. I am a revolutionary, and you're gonna have to keep on saying that.
Hi, welcome to Cars and Comrades, your leftist car podcast. My name is Bryant. We've got Connor, Zach, and Brandon here today. How are y'all all doing?
Doing well.
Good.
Fucking great.
Awesome. So we're going to pick back up where we left off on trikes in a little bit here, but I think we're going to do project car updates. And I think Brandon, it's your turn for that. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right.
I'm pretty easy because I've basically done nothing on any of my own personal projects. I started tinkering on a couple of my motorcycles that I'm going to try and get back on the road this season. But the bigger update is that, I'm down to 11 cars.
Wow.
One of my vans is officially scrapped.
Oh.
No, it's fine. Because several of the vans that I own were the lot that I bought at a junkyard. And so the one that there was nothing left to pull off of it really has been scrapped. I didn't know that they were scrapping it, but the guy knew that I was done with it. So I just went back to the junkyard over the weekend and saw that it was gone. I was like, all right, cool. Now my number's one tick lower. But next weekend, we have come up with a plan for extracting the 3 that I'm going to be removing from the junkyard.
Cool.
So then the remaining 2 there will be scrapped, and I will be down to 9 cars.
That's progress.
And we'll have 3 like half-rotted early Chevys that I can start working on. One of them, I legitimately think I am going to gut the interior, like cut out the floor pans, build like a really like rudimentary, like simple, like frame for it, and just build it just to do burnouts.
Nice.
like just slam it, give it like a couple of inches of clearance, and just it'll be a trailer queen that I can pull off the trailer and smoke the tires and head home.
I mean, that'll get expensive quick. I know those tires are not cheap.
Eh.
Is that like for like burnout competitions like they do in Australia or at car shows or what?
Fun.
Okay.
Like, I don't know where I'll be doing this. It's just
Right.
what my heart desires.
Yeah, no, that's legit. Cool.
So we're going to pull those out, and then I can start having more projects than I already have.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's what I really needed.
So you're just making room for more projects.
Yes.
Okay. It seems wise. We'll check in later to see how that's going.
Well, the goal is to maybe clean one of them up and actually try and get it back on the road one day. One of them I want to turn into a trailer, and one of them I will build to try and just do burnouts with.
So you're going to like pull the front end off and just put a trailer hitch on the front of it, or how are you going to do that?
What do you mean?
Turn it into a trailer?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to try and do the actual like body work to like close up the front end and make it look like match all the body lines and everything, and then just link the do like a subframe sort of trailer hitch thing, and
Very cool.
have at it so that I can tow like my early trailer with my early vans.
Nice.
Are you gonna do it like a matched pair with one of the vans? Make it look.
Yeah.
That would be
that would be the goal.
That's fucking awesome. I love
Yeah,
that.
sweet. I'm into it. You should do that one first.
Yeah.
Well, right now I still have both of my other early van projects that I'm working on, so I'm gonna do those first. I'm still working on the restoration for my 69. I actually should.
I was gonna ask, how do you prioritize this? Do you have like a spinny wheel that you just like pull it down and see which one you're gonna work on, or?
I'm massively ADD. I prioritize all of them intermittently.
Okay, fair enough. I've seen that
There's,
at work, so I get it.
I should have given you a tour of my shop. There's, I think, 5 active projects in there.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm never afraid to start more.
Yeah, everyone knows the best way to get projects done is to just start a bunch and then split your time between all of them. Works.
Well, I am actually prioritizing my '69 Chevy right now because that's like my baby. That's literally my first classic, and it's what got me into cars, like kind of weirdly later in life, as I've discussed here before. So, it was one of those projects that seemed impossible when like 6 years ago, but I've learned how to do so much stuff in the last few years that like when I actually started cutting into it and like working on it a couple of weeks ago, I realized that the only thing that I was think I was going to actually struggle with is a part that I was actually able to find somebody to make for me. Everything else I don't think is going to be that big of a problem or headache for me. So I'm actually going to try and get it into my shop tomorrow and double down and see if I can't have the body work done by like June.
Wow.
Or not like
Cool.
by June, but like, or hopefully early June.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a big endeavor, but I think it's doable, especially since I am technically unemployed right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably helps.
I just like my goal was to try and treat this project like it's my job. Just strip all the fun out of it, not enjoy anything. I'll have one of my friends come and tell me how I'm not doing a good job and how I am bad at everything or something.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say I can call you every once in a while and just be like, "Hey, man, you've really been slacking lately, and I need to pick it up."
Yeah,
it's just been disappointing.
every once in a while, it'd be nice maybe if somebody, I'd volunteer. Maybe I can message you and say, hey, just want to let you know we're a family here and I order you pizza. But then also talk about how, hey, we're all gonna have to tighten the belt here. So anything you could do to help the team is much appreciated.
Yeah, we're struggling. I'm gonna need you to come in on Saturday.
I'll get you one of those signs that says, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean.
Oh, I hate this. But yeah, so that's me. I'm technically these were all already projects that I owned. I just now will actually be able to. Oh, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get titles for them. Whatever, fuck it. I won't really need a title for the burnout machine or the trailer. I'll just figure out that last one.
Yeah.
Or just play like musical plates with it, since I already have several other registered earlies.
Yeah. I've seen people do that, or just move to Montana.
I don't know a lot about that, but I have a friend who everything he has is registered in Montana.
Yeah.
Do you just have to have like a PO box there or something, or can you just?
I'm not sure. I know it's pretty lax. Florida is similar too, I think.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of the Skylines in the U.S. and GTRs are registered in Florida or Montana because they wouldn't be legal in other states.
Interesting.
And sometimes they get, confiscated and crushed anyways. But
yeah, that's me, Bryant. What you been up to?
Not a whole lot. I've been busy with work and family stuff lately, so I haven't had any time to work on my car. But I did want to shout out a couple things. I been listening to a lot of the new King Gizzard album, which is pretty stellar. Got some weird shit on it, but some good stuff too. So
that's kind of the thing,
as usual.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I also wanted to shout out the Anarcho Mechanics podcast, or Anarcho Techs.
Yeah, it was Anarcho Techs.
So there's another leftist car podcast out there now.
Well, hold on. All right, don't be so nice. I mean, they called us out. They were like, "Hey, we're squaring up. Yeah, we're calling you out." And it's like, well, we can't be too nice. I was gonna.
Okay.
Wait,
fine.
Do we have actual beef with them, or are we just playing beef with them?
You're not. Don't say it on the air. Just I got some beef. There was some talk of like Fox bodies, and they were against Fox bodies and stuff. And I'm just saying,
yeah, no, I have to take issue with that.
I'm like, look, if you want to get your leftist car podcast with that kind of talk. I mean, that's them over there.
Well, I only have 2 issues with Fox bodies.
Don't do
Ford
this
and
on
they're
our
ugly as
podcast
fuck.
now. We can't. We just took a stance. You
We
can't.
critically support Fox bodies. Okay.
Yeah,
That's critical support for Fox bodies.
that's a good point. Yeah, they're terrible cars and they're ugly, but I still want one. You know.
I don't think they're ugly. I think they look great, but I have a friend who's very into them, so they've admittedly grown on me.
Yeah.
I've seen custom ones that looked amazing, but I think bone stock, they're just dog shit ugly.
The early ones are real ugly, I gotta say. But the
I
later
don't
ones are
really know
pretty
the
cool.
distinction between years and all.
Okay, well now
I kind of want an SVO with the turbo 4-cylinder. Those are pretty
cool.
cool. With the like asymmetrical hood scoop.
yeah, those are cool.
Yeah.
I know that if you take a Fox body and drop a 6-liter LS in it, you have a rocket just out of the box.
Right.
I mean, that's if you put an LS in just about anything.
Fox bodies don't weigh anything.
Well, yeah, that helps. Well, anyway, I guess we can't have that beef anymore because we also are not super into the Fox bodies here. So I don't know. Go check them out. They're anarchist mechanic types, and yeah, seemed cool. I liked it.
No, hold on. They're anti-Fox body. We critically support Fox body. Leftists have infighted over way less difference than that in the past. We can absolutely have beef over them being slightly more critical of Fox body Mustangs than we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one Ford I like. It's mine, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I almost missed recording today because of that fucking thing.
Yeah.
I go and try to run one quick errand, and I come back out, and it won't start.
Oh, yeah, I hate that. When you're at the store or something in the parking lot, you're like, oh, come on, not now. Do this at home.
And
you're embarrassing me in public, man. Come on. There are people watching.
I actually think that when that happens, it's just me living up to exactly what people assume when they see me.
Everyone in that store just went, yep.
Did you figure out what was wrong with it, or?
Something is up with my carb, and I haven't decided what to do to fix it, whether I just want to spend a few bucks to replace it, try and actually fix it, or just go ahead and prioritize the project of building a new intake for it. Because I want to make a custom intake for it, because none of the ones I can buy will fit inside the tiny compartment for the engine.
Oh, yeah.
And also they're expensive for some reason. Like the simplest thing on earth, and they're all like $500 and $600.
Ooh.
So yeah, fuck it. I'm just gonna build one. I know how to weld aluminum.
Sounds like a good plan. Nice. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Connor, I think it's your turn, right?
Yeah. I guess that's me. I'm pretty easy this week because I didn't do very much. I managed to get the summer wheels onto the car, and that's pretty much it. Put the summer wheels on, so I'm not driving around on the winter tires anymore, so that's good. They're clean for now, but I have those back long ago when I did the brakes last time. I put on like Trackhawk pads, fucking, I don't know, they're supposed to be really good for the track.
Like from a Jeep?
No, they're I think that's what they're called. Trackhawk. They're brake pads. They're like fairly aggressive.
Just like Hawk Performance,
Hawk something
brand,
like that.
And then their track series.
Yeah,
because I know Hawk makes pads.
God, I don't fucking. It's been so long.
I don't know Trackhawk if that's a different thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. The point is, people were recommending them when I was looking years ago, and honestly, I don't think they stop the car any fucking better, and they produce a fuckload of dust. So my wheels are always very, very dirty. So I think when I do brakes, which I'm almost certainly going to have to do this year, I'm going to try and get something. I think I'm going to go with ceramic brakes. Low brake dust,
Yeah, are they metallic? The ones you have on there?
Yeah, I think they're like, some kind of carbon metallic blend or something. It's like it puts off this awful, awful dust that is just impossible to keep clean on my white wheels. Yeah, and white wheels just look so much better than anything else on that car. So yeah, I don't want to deal with that shit anymore. And I don't think they stopped the car any better.
Now, are you talking ceramic brake pads or rotors?
Pads,
or
yeah. I
how does
can't
that work?
afford rotors
Okay.
like that. That's it. Yeah, that's crazy shit. No. I'm gonna get. I am gonna get rebuildable rotors though, like the kind where you just like replace the outer ring or whatever.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Because I did find a set of like lightweight rotors that are rebuildable like that, and I was like, oh, that seems cool. That seems like a good way to go. It would help if I could reduce some of the unsprung weight because my shit is just outrageous. And I've got those big 10.5 wide wheels front and back. I'm going to try and find something smaller to put on the front because I don't need that kind of, I'm not putting tires wide enough for that. So I'm just going to downsize a bit. Plus, I can't turn all the way. Like when I go full lock, I start rubbing on stuff and yeah, it's so you can see.
I was going to say, I'm surprised you're running a square setup on a drift car. That doesn't seem
that is
very common.
That is because I bought the wheels off of somebody who happened to have them with new tires on them for $700, and I was like, done deal. I will fucking take it. And I would get. They discontinued this particular wheel, so I can't just like get smaller ones for the front. So yeah, I have to in the future. I don't know, find a new wheel setup, but new wheel setups are very, very expensive. So kind of just like
tell me about it.
Yeah, and I
just purchased one for my WRX.
And
it's so much money.
I'm just trying to decide what I want to do for wheels too, because like there's that part of me that wants some nice like work wheels, and I know exactly which ones I want. I'm just like but no, I'm not at that point this year, I don't think. So I almost just need to find something temporary. Maybe I could just throw something up front. We'll see. I don't know. But summer wheels are on.
I'm having problems with the front brakes on my Ford van, and it's 4-way drums. So I've been thinking, fuck it, now's the time. Just go ahead and upgrade to disc brakes. And I don't know why I couldn't think of disc brakes for a second, but the problem that I'm encountering is that because I have 14-inch rims on that van,
that's gonna be tough.
I will probably have to upgrade my rims already, and I think that the rims that are on there are like, I don't know, they're not crazy expensive, but I would just basically be rebuying the same ones I already have, but in 15-inch, and so I don't want to spend like $700 or $800 or $900 or whatever to have the same wheels.
Yeah.
Plus, it goes from like a $200 or $300 upgrade to like, I don't know, like $1,200 to $1,500.
Oh yeah, definitely.
After like wheels and tires.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, van, fucking Ford, god damn it.
Yeah. So I'm in the boat where I want to get different pads that aren't going to be so fucking dirty. I need different wheels at some point, but like for right now, that's pretty much where I'm at. I was going to adjust my rear drum brakes because I'm pretty sure that those are not adjusted properly. The last time I did it, I like was in the pits at the track trying to like get the fucking handbrake working a little bit better, and I think I got only one making contact at a time or something because it sucks now. I'm just like if I park on a hill, even the slightest fucking incline, I've got to put it in gear. So it's like, okay. So my
MR2 has the mechanical handbrake on the disc brakes, no drum or whatever.
Okay, yep.
It's terrible. I have to keep it in gear all the time or it'll roll backwards,
Yeah, so
it's happened a couple times.
So like the last event I went to, like I was like, man, I'm just like not at practice with the handbrake anymore. Like I just can't get it to initiate a drift with the handbrake, but I'm pretty sure the truth is it's not engaging very well, and so it's not like my skill that's the problem. It's the drum brakes that suck. So who knows? I may replace those, but I'm going to try and adjust those soon.
It's not me, it's the car. I would say the same thing.
Yeah.
That's always a good feeling, but it's kind of bittersweet when you're the one that's done all the work on the car. Because you're like, oh, I'm not a shitty driver. My car's fucked up. And I'm like, fuck, I fucked the car up, though.
Yeah.
I'm not a shitty driver. I'm a shitty mechanic.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't know how much more adjustment I can actually do. Like, I think I might have already been at the, like, last amount of adjustment I have on those drum brakes. Like, because that cable's stretched and shit. I mean, pulling that handbrake for fun is not easy on the car. So. Who knows? I may.
How much would a hydro setup be? Is that just like absurd?
That's a sore
Or is it-
subject. I have a hydro. Well, I'm going to tell you about it now. I have a hydro
Okay.
setup in the car. It has never worked. Yeah, I have bled the shit out of it, and it just, and it's a hack job anyway. Like I had a friend make up a bracket, and I put it onto the trans tunnel. It works fine. I mean, like it does work, but I think I have the angle just a little bit wrong, so that like it hits the dash. If you hit the regular brakes, it'll like come up and hit the dash. But I think it's like not enough room for it to like fully have travel in the master cylinder, and so like I think that's part of it. Like I've just never been able to get it to work. Like it'll technically like it'll grab, but like not enough. If I'm trying to go into a slide, it's not strong enough for that. Unless maybe it's rainy, but that's unpredictable shit. So I'm going to change that soon. I will probably have it professionally done because my hack job has been in that car for like 4 years and it's never worked. And I'm just like back to the stock handbrake as a temporary thing. But it's like, there are there's better setups now that have come out that like mount right onto the center console, like right next to the shifter. Like they've made a nice kit. It's like $300, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds real nice. And I can have someone else fucking bleed the shit out of it, like with a proper vacuum bleeder and all that. I should be able to do it, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe I did it in the wrong order or something. I don't know. But yes, I have a hydro setup, and it does not work. We'll have another soon, but it's nice to have the backup for the regular handbrake because like I've had that for years and it worked great. So, yeah.
Yeah, I need to do the brakes on both of my cars pretty soon here, I think.
They're so expensive. I don't want to do brakes ever because I'm just like, oh, it's money. But
I mean, last time I think the rotors on my MR2 were like $25 each, and the pads were around the same per wheel. So like, it's pretty cheap for if you just want the basic shit that's gonna like warp in 6 months or whatever.
yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, but see, I'm always using the performance stuff, so it's always like, all right, okay. Do I have do I've got $800 to drop this weekend? I don't know, maybe. But anyway, that's all I got. I'm done. But yeah, just mostly just me complaining about regular stuff.
Yep, usually how it goes. I have so many things to complain about all the time on all my vehicles being shitty, but I'll try to keep it brief. Real quick before I get into my shit, Brandon, I know a lot of like mid to late 70s Ford Granadas had disc brakes in the front, and I don't know if that's swappable into your van, but I've seen people swap them onto early Mustangs and Cougars and stuff.
Do you know Scarebird?
No, I'm not familiar.
They're a company that makes these like adapter kits for everything, and basically what they do is they sell you a bracket to, and then tell you like what discs and calipers will. It'll tell you what disc and calipers to run on them. So the brackets I think are usually like 150-ish bucks, and it comes with some of the like hardware and other stuff. And then it's just like it's a really good budget option because like it'll be like the like discs off of like whatever model of truck where they're like easily available and not expensive. Roughly the same thing with calipers. I want to say I priced it out that the front disc conversion was going to be like under $300.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
That's not too bad. Yeah, I knew my dad had a Mercury Cougar that he just pulled a Granada out of the junkyard to get the disc brakes out of, and then he sold some shit off of the car as well. But I know they just bolted right up. That's been like 15 years ago now, but I think he spent like $700 on the car and got the disc brakes out of it, and then sold the motor and rear end and some other shit, and pretty much broke even. So I know you're kind of a junkyard guy. I figured I'd see if you knew about, the compatibility there, but sounds like you got a pretty solid plan already.
Yeah, it's just a matter of doing it. Like one of my drums is so seized up that I can't get the actual drum off. So I'm going to have to like build or rent one of the tools to pull it off, and that's the one that's like causing me problems. The other day, it was so fucked up that I couldn't stop going downhill because that one wheel is engaging like immediately, and it's making it harder for the rest of them to engage or something. So I literally dragged one of my wheels down a hill. I live in the fucking mountains, man. Like, I can't be like having this shit. So, and also, disc brakes were an option on these vans.
Okay.
So, like, if I wanted to, I could also just track down the proper parts. But the conversion kit's so like easy and straightforward that I'm just going to go that route.
I'm all for
Nice.
kits. When they sell it as a kit, I'm like, cool. I don't have to do any of the other bullshit. When it's like,
Usually I'm like, this kit's $100 and I could build it for $80 with just 40 hours worth of work. So I'll do that.
that's, I mean, to me, I'm just like,
Not worth it.
I'm always looking at it, I'm like, I will pay for the convenience. When I do research on what it would take to do it, I'm like, I'm going to look up the kit to do it. That's my research.
You know that
as to
when
what...
you were listening to Dead Kennedys and they said, give me convenience or give me death, it was not, it was sarcasm.
I stand by my stance.
No, it's not even always convenience. Sometimes it's simply like you only have so much time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to prioritize what to do yourself. It's not like I'm building like $1 million like Riddler car, like that crazy high end custom stuff. Like, you know, I'm just trying to have something that is really cool, but like is on the road soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of being on the road soon, I guess I'll get into all my bullshit.
Yeah, let's hear it.
The Ranger, I think, is the same position that it was in last time we talked. Still just waiting on the transmission shop to finish what they were doing to rebuild the transmission after it overheated. But I did drop a new auxiliary cooler and a temp gauge into the truck
Nice.
that'll be ready to be hooked up once the once the transmission's back in the truck. Just as some peace of mind, really just for the next person that has it, just so I can kind of clean my hands of the situation and do it in a good, clear conscience and just be like, hey, you know, it's got an auxiliary cooler. It's brand new. It's got a temp gauge. Keep your eye on the transmission temp. It did overheat once. Good fucking luck, buddy. and hopefully get rid of that thing soon. But yeah, since I wouldn't call this podcast a platform, but you know, a couple people listen to it. If you're ever in Castle Rock, Colorado, and you need transmission work, and you're considering H&M automotive and transmissions, stay the fuck away. Fuck them assholes. I hate them so fucking much. They informed me after 4 weeks of no contact, me trying to get a hold of them. I finally got a hold of someone who's not the guy working on my transmission for him to tell me, yeah, man, I think the dude's got one more box of parts to come in, like today or tomorrow, and then he'll have your transmission done. Had no idea what he was doing on the transmission before this. Never spoke to me about what parts he was going to purchase, what the issue was with the transmission at all. Just went ahead and fucking did it, which I guess if we had spoken at first and I was like, get it done ASAP, whatever it takes, that's fine. But no, what I specifically said to the guy was, hey man, let me know what's going on with the transmission when you find out so that I can, you know, determine if it's worth giving you a shitload of money to rebuild a transmission for a piece of shit truck. And he just ignored all that shit and went ahead and did it. And now I have no idea what it's going to cost because I did finally get a hold of the guy and asked him, hey man, do you have like an estimate on how much this is going to cost me? And he said, nah, I won't know until I get that other box of parts.
What does the
fuck?
What does the receiving of parts have anything to do with the cost? You're like, you already paid for them, I assume. It doesn't change the work at all. Oh, that's hack shit. That is hack shit right there.
Yeah, that's like when I get really high and order car parts, and then I kind of forgot what I ordered, and I'm like, well, I don't know how much this is going to be until random parts show up, and I know what I'm doing with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that, like stoner fuck it level of bullshit, but from, you know, a company that I'm giving money to.
I think there's that is a thing that a lot of shops I think will do to kind of hold you hostage It's kind of like,
Yeah.
hey, I know you've given me this transmission from a piece of shit car that you really don't want to put any money into. I better go ahead and order parts and get this shit done so that you don't decide against fixing it because they want the
Here's
money.
here's the thing, and I mean, like, you guys can, tell me I'm being a piece of shit if I'm being a piece of shit, but if the dude comes back with a quote that's like much over $500, I'm going to be like, yeah, congratulations on owning a 4-day 4LD transmission now, buddy. I'm going to go yank one out of the junkyard and put it in the truck. You can fucking have it.
I thought there was already like a newer transmission though that you ordered, right?
Oh, it was. Yeah, this is the one that I bought a rebuilt because try to make a long story short here. I had an A4LD in the truck that blew up. I got rid of it. I thought a more modern 4R55E that's stronger would fit in the truck, which it does fit in. It bolts in, but since it's completely electronically controlled, I would have to have hacked in a more modern ECU to control the transmission. So I was like, fuck it, I can't use that transmission. So I got rid of that one. So then I didn't have a core for the original one. So I ordered a rebuilt A4LD from a company. It cost me like $2,000 thereabouts, a little over, to have shipped to my house. Got that in. That's the one that blew up. Now I'm having that rebuilt transmission that I ordered for $2,000 rebuilt by this shop who has not spoken to me for a month and just went ahead and bought parts and started to rebuild it without my knowledge or approval.
I mean, I'll tell you right now.
That's about all the information.
I will tell you right now, it's going to be more than 500. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So that's already a lot of money you put into it. I would see, I think within reason, 1,000 or 1,200 really before you start. Yep. I mean, that's just the reality. Because rebuilding a transmission is always expensive. I don't think it's ever cheap.
Yeah, that's about how much they quoted me when I asked someone to rebuild a manual transmission for me. But I don't know how it is.
Wrong.
Yeah, no,
You think?
manuals should not be that much money
It was around 1,000, I think.
to rebuild.
It does depend on what happened. One of the reasons I don't think that you're too far off base, Zach, is it's not like you were like doing burnouts and sent one of the planetary gears into outer space. Like,
Yeah.
you probably just destroyed the clutch packs.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking happened, and that's why I use the term rebuild loosely. This should not be like a full transmission rebuild, which is why I wanted the guy to fucking tell me what he was going to do before he did shit, so I could kind of get a feel for what it would be, and then maybe stop him from doing the work, like be a good person about it and be like, nah, bro, don't worry about it. I'll come pick it up, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, no,
I'll pay you for your time for checking it out. No, he's already sent it all.
Yeah, he's trying to hold you hostage
down the river.
They do that all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a common thing that they'll do. Is like, oh, it's already done. Yeah, they do that. And then of course, so I've heard those kinds of shops like talk shit about people like, oh man, I did all this work and then they didn't want to pay for it. It's like, did you tell them you were doing all that work? Like, did they?
Exactly.
Yeah,
did they agree to the work? Did they say, hey, man, I get it? Like, yes. Go ahead.
In their heads, that's always how it goes. And I'm like, yeah, people want to know what shit's going to cost before they decide. Like, that's a part of the decision-making process.
Yep.
There is the problem with car stuff where it escalates quickly and unexpectedly sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think saying I'll pay you to check this out and figure out what's wrong and then I'll go from there is the most rational possible thing you can say. Like
100%.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, maybe I wasn't completely clear on that. I was just like, hey man, I think it overheated. Can you look at it and let me know? Maybe I should have been very, very direct, like said exactly those words. I will pay you to tell me what is wrong with it before you do anything. But yeah, that's not what happened. That's not what's happening. And I'm very much on the edge of like, well, if this is going to be an absurd amount of money, I might just tell him to keep the fucking thing and never talk to him again. Because I'm a little pissed off that he literally didn't speak to me for a month, and I called him several times. Left voicemails, nothing. Finally got a hold of somebody else at the shop. Just for them to be like, oh yeah, I think he's almost done, dude. Like, what the fuck, man?
Well,
like,
if you're I get not wanting to have them finish up or whatever, and like going, I wouldn't leave the transmission with them though. That's a fucking present. I mean, I would pick that shit up with parts or whatever. Be like, I will pay for parts. I will pay you for the time you put in, but like, give me my shit back. I'll take it somewhere else. Like,
That's the thing. The last thing I had heard was him being like, yeah, the last box of parts is just like a couple things is supposed to come in today. This was, I think, Thursday. So 2 business days ago as we're recording this. And that was going to be it. So, I mean, what would I save in parts and labor costs versus just getting the complete transmission at this point?
Yeah.
If I would have stopped him dead in his tracks there and just been like, no, wait, don't do anything, or just let him finish and then see what it's going to be. Because at this point, the transmission's essentially done. So I'm either paying the full price or just tell him to fucking keep it.
Do y'all remember when Brian from Street Fight had the saga where they put a new transmission in his car that when it didn't need it?
yeah.
The Kia or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, I think there's something wrong with the transmission, so they replaced the transmission without diagnosing anything.
That's right.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't the transmission. Brian's not a mechanic. His cat was clogged, so they replaced the transmission.
What the fuck, dude? Yeah, I think I missed that whole saga. That's fucked up.
To his credit, he like actually like dealt with it enough that I think that they comped it because it wasn't.
I think that's how it worked.
I think the dealership had to eat because he went to the dealership. I think the Steelership.
Oh.
Yeah.
And yeah, they had to like comp it because yeah, he just did the wildly wrong fucking thing because he was like, I don't know, it might be this.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
whole this saga was going on so long and got so involved. I think it was like the editor-in-chief of Jalopnik or something was like in touch with him. Yeah, and he was he was gonna like write up a story about it and so yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, somebody, a writer for Jalopnik called the dealership like, I'm doing a story about how you ripped my friend off for like all this thousands of dollars, and they're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it was that was
Dude, honestly, that would be a sick episode if we could get Brian to like come talk about that.
That would be
generally just how fucking scammy like dealerships and mechanics and shit can be sometimes.
Yeah.
It made me never want to have a Hyundai or a Kia again.
Yeah, I actually used to. I won't say that I like encourage people to buy Kias, but they're very affordable cars.
Yeah.
And between that whole deal and making friends with like a guy who was a tech for Kia, like a head tech at Kia for a minute, he was like, "Yeah, don't ever fucking buy a Kia."
I don't know. I think every tech at any place will be like, "Don't buy this car." I work, and I'm like, you see all the broken.
Oh no,
ones.
he will absolutely tell you which cars are good and which cars are bad. And he says, "Do not get." He's like Toyota all day long. Lexus, do it. Kia, do not. Because the way he looked at it, I forget the specific terminology he used, but it was basically like the cost of buying the car versus the cost of like overall, like you might buy the car for 20 grand, but if you then spend 20 grand on it in the next 5 years versus just buy a 30 grand car that you then spend like, basic maintenance, couple thousand bucks over 5 years, you have actually spent $8,000 less.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hardcore, like, buy a Toyota, buy a Lexus, do not buy a Kia.
Yeah. Yep, there you have it.
I mean, that said, I kind of want a Stinger GT. Those are pretty cool. But
They are. They're very cool. Yeah.
Or a Veloster N. Any of those high-performance ones.
I kind of feel like if you're a car guy, you get to be exempt from that stuff because you're like, yeah, well, I'm going to have to fix a lot, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
That's true.
I want what I want, and I'll fix it when it breaks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like if you're just a motherfucker that's driving to work every day and you don't want to deal with that shit or don't know how to deal with that shit, then no, don't buy a fucking Kia.
Yeah, that's a good way to. Yeah, I've got a sweet spot for 3000 GTs. They're a bitch to own, but like they're so pretty. Yeah. They're heavy as shit. They're not like actually that fast, but they're so
fucking cool.
They're so cool, and they're terrible.
They're so futuristic.
Yeah,
like
it's hard to work. They're breaking all the time, but I love them. I fucking love them.
There's one of those parked on the street 2 blocks from me.
Oh man, is it a VR4?
I'm not sure. I've only seen it without the cover on once. It's sitting on 4 flat tires, so I don't think it might.
In its
Sounds about
natural
right.
habitat.
Yeah.
I always think of wasn't it Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force had one of those?
Did he?
Did he?
I don't remember.
I think it was a maybe it was a Dodge Stealth or whatever. It had the 2 Wicked airbrushed on the side.
Hold on.
Oh man, I'm curious.
Yeah,
now. I'm
you
gonna
gotta look this up. We gotta know.
So I've been wanting to do some lettering on the back of my van, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to say, and I decided today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna either like try and see if I like can try my hand at pinstriping and lettering and stuff, or just find somebody who like does it and can hammer it out real quick. And I'm just gonna get slow as fuck painted on one of my back doors.
Nice.
Nice.
That's
Yeah, it was a Dodge Stealth ES.
Get out. That's like
Wow.
I don't remember. I don't know the stealth terminology. That's probably like base model stealth.
I think that's the base model. Yeah, and it's got it's got like a bra on the front. It's got like a supercharger scoop. Even though it's a transverse mounted engine.
Well, I doubt that the people drawing Aqua Teen Hunger Force did the research on that one.
I think that they did enough research to know that Carl would put a fake supercharger scoop on it.
Fair enough.
I think that was intentional.
Both of these things equally likely.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on the Aqua Teen Hunger Force wiki here.
Oh no.
They have a wiki. That's fucking awesome.
According to the DVD commentary, this is actually the real car of Matt Mattiolero, the creator of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Wow.
Nice.
Of course it
That's
is. Why wouldn't
Fucking
it be?
Chad move right there. Put your car into one of the characters like owns your car. If I ever make an animated show, which I won't, but if I ever do, I'll be driving a black 350Z. Again, I won't ever make a cartoon, so this is very low stakes for me. But
I actually did do that when I came up with the idea for Scooby Doo.
When you were like negative 20 years old.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's all I have for my major car updates. Other than I've been waiting to spend way too much money on a Ford transmission to get my truck back on the road. So in the meantime, I spent way too much money on some wheels for my WRX because I make poor financial decisions.
yeah, don't we all?
I mean, do they at least look cool?
They're rad as fuck, I think. They're inky. Koenig, not inky. They're Koenig lockouts in bronze. They're like a real thin 8-spoke design.
Yeah, I'm looking these up right now.
They are not like flow formed or anything
cool.
like that. They're cast wheels, but I think they weigh about what stock does. So
Yeah.
Cast is affordable.
Yeah,
That's the truth. And
I
they
think they look
probably
tight.
people say, "Oh, if you hit a pothole, it'll break." No, they'll be fine. Yes,
Yeah.
they're
I
slightly.
hit potholes all the time in my stock wheels. They're cast. they're fine.
What was this?
And they're the bronze ones?
Yeah,
Koenig what?
Nice.
lockouts.
Lockouts. Okay.
Yeah. And I went ahead and just did stock diameter and width with a little lower offset. Just like, I think 12 or 15 millimeter lower offset. So they'll poke a little more
Nice.
in the stock. Should be pretty close to flush. And then I also got some adjustable rear lower control arms because my camber bolts in the rear are maxed out and it still has camber. So try to adjust that to be less cambery, more square setup.
Nice.
But yeah,
Cool.
just waiting on those to come in now. Really, I did it because I didn't want to spend $90 to put my summer tires back onto stock wheels. So instead, I spent $1,500 on wheels and parts,
Oh, man, you sound-
so I can have 2 sets of wheels.
Yeah. I mean, I've got 2 sets of wheels for my Subaru. You know, I've just got steel wheels for the winter tires.
Yeah.
Works
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
multiple sets is the way to go.
For sure.
I know we're already going really long into car updates and our constant bullshitting, but how's the Audi and how's the Cobra?
No change on either front there. I have really been meaning to jump into the Audi as soon as I can, but I've been really wrapped up in trying to get everything possible done on the Ranger that I can, so that once I have that transmission back in, I can just sell it immediately. But I think I can fix, I don't know if I talked about it on here or not, but I think I can fix the Audi without pulling the engine. I'm pretty sure. Like, I found a slideshow of someone doing it, not like a video, but literally like a slideshow. And it's like kind of like I don't know if you've seen that shit, like Draw the Rest of the Owl kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about? Where they show step 1, step 2, and then step 95, and it's fucking done. But I think I can kind of piece together what needs to happen and do it without pulling the engine. Yeah, thank you. I need all of it that I can get. Please send me good luck and good vibes. And then, I've talked to the guy 2 or 3 times about the Cobra, and he's just like, he's got a kid and he's super busy. And apparently his dad owned like way more shit than he thought he owned before he passed away. So he's just trying to go through a bunch of legal rigmarole still on that front.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we still chat every once in a while, and I don't want to be a pest to the guy, but I just keep telling him, I'm like, anytime, dude, anytime. I'll drive you out there. I'll pay for all the gas. I'll get you snacks, buddy. Whatever you need. He's like, I got a lot going on. I'm like, it's cool.
Is this a handshake agreement, or is it already like you've paid for it?
It's not bought and paid for. It's a handshake agreement at this point. But every time I see him, because he's an electrician for the general contractor that I work for, so occasionally we'll be on the same job site, and I'll just be like, hey, how's it going? What's the updates on it? Tell me how your life's going, and we'll chat for a while, and I try to bring it up. But I just don't want to pester the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really getting a screaming deal on it because his dad died. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be bugging him every single week about it. Like, hey, you remember that car that your dad owned that's dead now? Yeah. When can I get that? Like, that seems like a pretty dick move. So
it's like, hey man, I'm really into keeping your dad's spirit alive by getting this car on the road.
Yeah,
that's a good way to frame it.
I don't know,
actually.
man.
It's all about framing.
Yeah, that dick move ends with you having a Cobra to drive around. So, I mean,
yeah. I also generally have to work with the guy like pretty regularly, so I don't want him to hate me.
Also, you can piss him off enough that he says, fuck you, it's not yours.
Yeah, exactly. He has gotten offers. He got an offer for more money from another electrician that he works with, and he just fucking hates that guy. So he's like, no, fuck him. I'm not selling it to him.
Nice. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hopefully he keeps quiet about to anyone else.
Yeah. And I mean, like he's a super honest guy. I see him very regularly.
That's good.
Too, So if he turned around and sold it out from under me, that would definitely create some tension that I don't think he wants to do. And he every time I talk to him about it, he's like, "Yeah, man, like it's yours, just whenever we can get down there." But like I said, he's got a young daughter.
You're in good shape then.
So yeah, he's got a bunch of shit going on, and it's just gonna happen whenever it happens. So I will definitely share updates on that one whenever I have them to share.
I was like, man, I thought we haven't
it's
heard
constantly
about this
in the back of my mind. I know. I feel like I'm selling y'all a tall tale here. Like, yeah, dude, I totally am gonna get a Shelby Cobra. Like, for real. Like, my buddy has one. Like, no, it seems like bullshit. I know, but I'll maybe I'll post some grainy photos that I have of it on the Instagram channel.
It's the Bigfoot of your cars.
Yeah. I just got some photos of it in the woods as it was driving by. But I swear, it's surreal. It's
no, this is actually just a Camry in a Cobra costume.
It's like a Pontiac Fiero kit car. It's just made to look like a Cobra. Oh shit, that would kill me. Yeah, maybe let me see if I can find those photos. I'll throw them up. That way, I don't look like I'm just fucking lying through my teeth. But yeah, definitely will be giving updates as soon as I can on that. I'm still very much in the Ford Maverick camp too, by the way. I'm selling this Ranger and the Audi, and I'm fucking getting a Maverick. They're cool. I like them.
Yeah,
it's not a bad idea.
I saw one on the road or something. I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. I like it.
Yeah.
All for it.
It's got cool styling, I think.
Yeah.
It almost looks lifted like from the factory. like, because it's so small and it has like a little bit more ground clearance than your average like crossover or whatever.
Yep.
On like a small chassis, it kind of looks like it's a little more
Yeah.
than most stock cars.
Well, Bryant, do you want to tell us about some trikes?
Yeah, let's talk about some trikes. So I kind of talked a little bit about this on the last episode, but I kind of wanted to go into a little bit more detail on the 1973 oil crisis, because this was kind of the beginning for a lot of these trike projects. And some people might not know about this. So in October 1973, the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, led by Saudi Arabia, proclaimed an oil embargo as a response to Israel during the Yom Kippur War. So a lot of Western countries supported Israel in this war, sold them weapons, and Saudi Arabia and a lot of the Arab nations were not cool with that, as you can imagine. And so this embargo targeted Canada, Japan, the Netherlands, the UK, and the US. And then later they expanded it to include Portugal, Rhodesia, and South Africa.
Good old,
And then, what's that?
I said, good old Rhodesia.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I forget that was a country.
I always try to forget that was a country.
Yeah. So by the end of the embargo in March 74, the price of oil in the U.S. had risen nearly 300%.
Ouch.
So there were big lines at gas stations. There were some times when they would like say, okay, if you have an even numbered license plate number, you can buy gas on Tuesdays, and if you have an odd numbered license plate, you can buy it on Wednesdays. That kind of thing. So it was a big deal in America, and it really led to a lot of things, like the popularity of mopeds, which we talked about on an episode a long time ago, and also kind of the malaise era with Jimmy Carter and telling everyone to turn down their thermostats and wear a sweater, and putting solar panels on the White House and all that kind of thing. So and then of course there's a backlash to that with the Reagan Revolution and all that. And then there's another oil shock in 1979 caused by the Iranian Revolution. But this story here begins in 1974, or excuse me, 1973, with a guy named Dale Clift. And he was an engineer in California who, didn't like these high gas prices. So, but he would commute via motorcycle, but that didn't work so good when the weather was bad. So he decided he wanted to make a trike that was fully enclosed out of a motorcycle. And so he got a 305cc Honda Super Hawk and built a trike on the front end of that using steel tube electrical conduit that he brazed together into a frame.
Oof, yeah, it sounds sturdy.
Yeah. And then he built some suspension out of motorcycle forks for the front end, and he covered the whole thing in red metal flake naga hide stretched over the framework. So kind of like, yeah, kind of like the Velorex, the leather covered trike that we talked about last time.
Yeah, I'm about metal flake.
Yeah.
How do you get metal flake into naga hide?
I mean, it's like
I have green metal flake. It's actually vinyl.
Yeah.
It's not, because I think naga hide's like a brand or something. But yeah, I mean, think about like marine vinyl or something like that, and it's metal flake.
That makes way more sense. I don't know why my brain wasn't making that connection. It sounded weird to say metal flake and then fabric. So yeah, no, that makes sense. That just took me a second.
Yeah, I want to say naga hide is basically just like leather textured vinyl. So, and then this guy, Dale Clift, he was involved with an advertising agency where he met someone named Geraldine Elizabeth Carmichael in 1974. and she thought this was a great idea to make this trike. And together they incorporated the 20th Century Motor Car Corporation, based off of Cliff's prototype. Now, if maybe someone used to be a libertarian, they might know the name of this car company. I didn't know this, but it was apparently it was a car company in the novel Atlas Shrugged.
I
Yeah.
already hate it.
Yeah.
So they came up with a design for a production version, and it was going to be made of what Carmichael called Reardon metal, or sometimes it was called like a space age polymer. They had all these different marketing terms for it, but in the end, it turned out to just be fiberglass. So it was going to have a fiberglass shell.
Space age fiberglass.
Yeah.
Is that just any fiberglass made after like 1960, whatever, whenever they landed on the moon?
No. It's any fiberglass that is made by a true visionary who's an innovator and innovates a new material that is very much like fiberglass and also is fiberglass.
Yeah. I mean, she made a lot of claims about this. So I'll say, books have been written about this story. There's I think a 4-part miniseries on HBO about this. There's another couple podcasts that have done like half-hour or hour-long podcasts about just this topic. I'm going to try and keep it a little bit brief. But if you're curious about this, she made all kinds of outrageous claims, and I won't go into all of it. But
she was a lot like Elon Musk, except she got caught a lot sooner, whereas Elon Musk is just like, everyone believes it. The story is unbelievably similar to Elon Musk. It's crazy.
She's just Musk with worse PR.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really.
And she did slightly less paperwork to like file, business paperwork and stuff. So it had this fiberglass shell and a 40 horsepower BMW motorcycle engine. The claimed curb weight was under 1,000 pounds, top speed of 85 miles an hour, and fuel economy of 70 miles per gallon. And Carmichael went on record to say that she drove into a wall at 30 miles an hour, and there was no damage to the car or herself.
I didn't even hear that claim. Wild.
Well, that's brilliant.
Um,
Wait, was this a safety test, or she just was bad at driving?
No,
or?
this was a lie. I'm assuming this was a lie.
I don't know if this is on purpose or what.
I don't know if I should have just immediately assumed lie, but I'm like, why would you even do that?
Oh, presumably to test it. Oh, see, look. Well, the same way Elon, which there's an almost identical story. Like when they were presenting this car, they did something almost exactly like Elon Musk in the fucking window debacle, where, oh yeah, they're bulletproof windows, smashes the window. Something almost identical. I can't remember what it was, but like something totally like that happened.
She claimed that the windows were made out of this like space age polymer plastic stuff, and she made like a plastic cup out of this material and took it to a firing range and shot a gun at it, and of course it just shattered into a million pieces.
Sounds like my day yesterday.
So let's see. In November 1974, she was talking to the Chicago Sun-Times and said she was on the way to taking on General Motors or any other car manufacturer for that matter. She claimed she had millions of dollars in backing from private parties and also a 150,000 square foot corporate office in Encino. So in late January of 1975, 20th century salesman and former public relations representative William D. Miller was found murdered in his Encino office, the victim of 4 gunshot wounds to the head. The prime suspect was fellow employee Jack Oliver, who, it was soon discovered, had previously served time with Miller in San Quentin prison. And it's not clear the motive of this. Some were saying that that Miller was threatening to kill a government regulator who was snooping in on their business, and Oliver tried to stop him. So, yeah. Anyways, it brought a lot of more scrutiny on the business.
Which, to be clear, I think from the story that I understood, like the founder Elizabeth was like just a wild Ayn Randian like fucking maniac, and would like, oh, fuck the government in every way, but like not in a cool way, but just like, I'm not gonna do any of the paperwork I need to. I'm not gonna like follow labor laws. I'm not gonna all of that shit. And like, so there was some regulator snooping around, but she had created a culture that was just like so anti-regulation that somebody I think was trying to kill a regulator.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, you said like they were talking about killing a regulator, and I'm like, that is the most libertarian ass shit I have ever heard.
yes. Yeah. So that's it's again, this is the briefest of brief tellings of this story, but it is wild.
But you know, based on the trajectory of our current timeline, I feel like libertarian terrorism is all but inevitable.
I mean, that's already happening, kind of.
Well, yeah, I guess that's just the what the sovereign citizen guys.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Now that I have framed it that way, I just feel more horrified about life.
Yep.
You're welcome. Let's
But
see.
We can call it libertarianism.
That's a good nomenclature. So, despite all this, in 1975, a non-functional model of the Dale was displayed at Los Angeles Auto Show. By the way, I don't know if I said this, but they were going to call the car the Dale after Dale Clift, the guy that came up with the prototype. It's not what I would have called it.
Yeah,
but
it's a terrible name, but whatever.
Well, here's the thing. It's a great name, but this was pre-Dale Earnhardt, so it's a terrible name.
No, it was an innovative way to do things, and you just aren't caught up yet on the innovationness of it.
Yeah. Well, and if it had stuck around and been sold in Latin America, it could have been called the Dale and been promoted by Pitbull. But oh well. Anyways,
the trike of gusanos.
It was also featured as a prize on The Price is Right, but they did not win it because they did not guess the price, which I think was going to be around $2,000 claimed. So around this time, they were encountering increasing legal troubles with the California Corporations Department, who ordered them to stop offering stock for public sale because they had no business permit. So they had some TV reporters investigating. And around this time, Clift said he still believed in the project, but he was promised $3 million in royalties, but he had only received $1,001 plus another check. Sorry.
Every step of this story gets more and more libertarian.
He also received another check for $2,000, which bounced.
Again,
there it is, more libertarian.
Around this time, he went and talked to Carmichael and said, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "You're done with this company. Get the fuck out of here." So
they should have changed their name from Carmichael to Trike Michael.
So, following accusations of financial impropriety, Carmichael was charged with 31 counts of grand theft, fraud, and corporate security violations. And I think she fled to Florida at one point. And at this point, it was discovered that she was transgender, which some saw as further evidence of her fraud, which, it seemed to be just her real identity. And it was just, she happened to be transgender. She wasn't trying to hide her gender. She was just a weird libertarian fraudster who happened to be transgender.
Yeah.
So I'll say that very emphatically, one of the journalists who outed her as transgender was ABC reporter Dick Carlson, who had previously outed transgender tennis player Dr. Renee Richards. Went on to be the director of Voice of America and Radio Marti, the U.S. government-funded anti-communist propaganda radio stations. And he is also the father of Tucker Carlson.
Oh, God damn it.
So,
Yeah.
Cool guy.
And that brings us to today. Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
Now, part of that,
Where Tucker Carlson fell very far from that tree, because he definitely is not a rabid transphobe who continuously spews right-wing propaganda at all.
Yeah. So Carmichael skipped bail, went into hiding, but she was featured on a 1989 episode of Unsolved Mysteries, and was eventually found working at a flower shop in the town or the suburb of Austin called Dale, Texas.
that's right, I forgot about that.
Do it for Dale.
Yeah. And she was arrested, extradited back to California, tried, and sent to prison for 18 months in a men's prison, which really sucks. She was eventually able to get the court to recognize her as a woman, but it took a big fight. And then she served those 18 months, and then she went back to Texas and ran a flower shop for a long time with her children, and eventually died of cancer in 2004. And then Dale Clift, who was not really involved with any of this fraud, eventually, did his engineering business. He had a company called the Dale Development Company, and he died in 1981. So that is the story of the Dale. It's an interesting one, and like I said, if you want to know more about this, the Regular Car Reviews did a podcast about it. That's pretty interesting. Like I said, there's also that book. I forget the name of it, but I'll put it in the show notes. There's the shorter version done by Donut Media. That's pretty good too.
Yeah, I actually recently watched that one.
I'm gonna have to check that out. This actually sounds pretty wild.
Yeah.
You can see James Pumphrey say "fuck Tucker Carlson," which definitely made me feel really good.
Yeah, they're actually all right over there. They're pretty decent. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who watch their shit and just like don't quite get that. Like, yeah, they're talking about you. You're the asshole. Like, so I don't know. I'm sure people have plenty of cognitive dissonance about that. But yeah, they did a good job with the story. Yeah, it was just a fraudster, and the trans identity part of this was just such an unfortunate like part of the story that it's like, that's not the reason this person's a fraudster. It's, but like, of course, it was treated that way, which is just super shitty. It was the late 70s, so you can imagine like the worst of the worst in terms of trans acceptance at that point. So, yeah, just an unfortunate part of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it, regardless of what she did or didn't do, it sucks that, our prison system is what it is. But frankly, I was surprised that she was eventually able to get moved to a women's prison. That was frankly a little shocking.
And let's also don't ignore how fucked up that the media chose to out her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that just so hard.
Yeah. And then twist that as like evidence that, oh, of course she's a fraudster, just that's 100% a media fabrication just to, put transgender people in a category of being a fraud and using that as evidence
Right.
that she is a fraud. It was bullshit.
Yeah, I mean that was back when like trans issues were not well understood or like established like they are now, where like everybody knows what trans people are and just most of them want to murder them.
Yeah, it's a different. It is a different kind
progress.
of. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's been plenty of other, normal, not fraudulent companies making trikes in the intervening time. But I'm going to skip ahead to 2009 when a guy named Paul Elio founded Elio Motors, and with designs to produce an aerodynamic tadpole trike for commuters. And this has I'm not really sure how to describe which tents to use for this, but it had a 900cc 3-cylinder engine based off of the one from a Geo Metro,
Nice.
which would produce 55 horsepower.
All right.
Get 84 miles per gallon highway
Holy
and
shit.
49 city.
Oh, that's great. I would drive that.
Yeah. So this was kind of cool because it's what they call a tandem seating arrangement. So it's one in front of the other. So it's a lot narrower than, let's say, the Dale, which was side by side, and so it's more aerodynamic. And this was a little bit more of a modern design. It has front wheel drive. It's more car based. Power windows, cruise control, air conditioning, airbags, anti-lock brakes, traction control, steel unibody frame, crumple zones. It's basically just a car with 3 wheels.
What was it called again?
Elio, ELIO.
Okay.
And the base price was going to be $7,450. And they started taking deposits, and they said they weren't going to do the traditional dealer network. They were going to have maintenance done under warranty at Pet Boys locations, which I don't know if I trust that. But,
Yeah.
Okay.
So they started taking deposits for planned production in 2012, but this date kept getting pushed back further and further as they struggled to find funding. So as of September 2021, Elio announced that a new electric motor design was going to be the focus, and they're going to ditch the gas motor. But they have not posted any updates since then. But they say, just as soon as we get, another $500,000 or whatever, we're totally going to do this, guys.
Yeah, they're still around. I mean, I'm on their website. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah,
I
I am too.
kind of like this. I'm like, I want it. I mean, not really, but
Yeah.
also kind of. I would.
I feel like I should hate this a lot, but I will tolerate it.
It's kind of cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks.
Okay. I agree with you. It's not for me in even the Vegas way, but yeah, it is kind of cool. I don't think I would fit in that.
Yeah, it looks. It's tiny, but like, I'm all for it. I hope to see these on the road. It's kind of cool. It's actually pretty funny how it is literally just like a miniature inline car. It looks like a Ford Focus, but like if you squeezed it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is in the category of I hope they succeed, but I'm not going to put a deposit down on one anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, their website does now say that their targeted MSRP for the electric one is $14,900. So it is doubled in price and still nothing.
Yeah.
Well,
on the road.
if that's current, then in their defense, food is doubling at price too. So
Yeah.
True. I guess everything is at this point.
Hey, capitalism, am I right?
Woohoo, this is the best system ever.
this is easily a tangent that we could go on for the next 6 hours. So Brian, continue.
All right. So at the 2019 Geneva Auto Show, an Estonian company debuted the Nobe GT100, spelled Nobe. It's a electric tadpole trike with all 3 wheels driven by their own motor and sort of a retro 1960s styling. It looks kind of like an old Alfa Romeo.
Cool.
Designed in Estonia by a company founder, Roman Muljar, I think that's how you pronounce it, in 2017. The Nobe's projected specifications include a weight of 1,100 pounds, a range of 180 miles, and a top speed of 80 miles an hour. And it was featured on crowdsourcing campaigns on Indiegogo and funded by me, which I've never heard of that one. So controversy surfaced regarding the automaker when an investigative report on the Estonian news program, I'm not going to even try to pronounce that, found criminal charges and past bankruptcies associated with the CEO, in addition to complaints by shareholders about his ability to run a business.
So this is Estonian Lordstown.
Sure seems that way. But I mean, this is I do like the design. Like it does
cool.
look cool.
It does look cool.
Yeah.
I will say that.
And one of the, I think, optional features they had was a built-in espresso machine. Which,
I want one now.
Fuck.
yeah. So going backwards a little bit to 2005, Steve Fambro and Chris Anthony founded Aptera Motors to produce an aerodynamic electric tadpole trike. The company folded or went bankrupt in 2011 when they failed to secure a loan from the Department of Energy, which, by the way, Tesla had no problem getting this loan. And eventually the intellectual property was bought by a Chinese automaker, Zhangjiang Zhanwei. However, this company never filed the paperwork to take over the intellectual property, which allowed Fambro and Anthony to take that property back and revive the company in 2019.
All right, I'm gonna keep it totally real here. I didn't think the Chinese ever gave a shit about the intellectual property anyway. I mean, like they're like, hey, we paid money for it. Who cares about the paperwork? It's ours now. We're gonna make it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're using some of this technology in China, but they don't have it filed with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office.
Well, yeah. Okay. Oh, they didn't ask the U.S. if it's okay. All right. Well, fuck them. Who cares? I always thought that the deal with China is, yeah, you can come and do business here, but the cost is we steal your shit and we use it. You're doing half the engineering for us. That's the goal. It's cheap.
Honestly, it's one of the things about the Chinese economy that I respect the most.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's cheaper to do stuff here, but we're gonna benefit from it. We're getting something else here. So, I'm surprised China, Xi Jinping, just start making this. What are you waiting for? Just build a factory in 2 days, which we know you can do. Build a factory in 2 days and start making this.
You'd give them like 9 days.
So the current model that they're designing and making prototypes for right now is made with a lightweight sandwich composite construction. So I think it's like a honeycomb fiberglass and Kevlar sort of composite.
Cool.
It weighs 1,800 pounds and has a 0.13 drag coefficient, which means it is 2.5 times more aerodynamic than a Tesla Model 3.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It seems heavy though.
Yeah, I mean it is heavier
compared to trikes. In terms of what we've seen on some of these other trikes, it's a little on the heavier end.
It is a little bit bigger because it's got a longer sort of tail for the aerodynamics.
What's this one called?
And it's
again? Sorry,
Aptera, which I think in Latin means like flightless bird or something like that.
Oh, it looks cool as fuck though. Oh, yeah. I want one of these.
Also, an interesting thing, and I know this specifically from cycling, like bicycling, there are times when the trade-off for something being heavier but more aerodynamic is a net gain.
That's fair.
And like with that low of a friction coefficient or a drag coefficient, like that thing could add a couple 100 pounds and just you would barely notice.
Yeah, if you're listening to our podcast, I highly recommend you take a minute and look this up because this thing looks cool as fuck, and I believe it looks very aerodynamic. It's cool.
Yeah, they claim, or at least one of the people involved with it claimed that it's more aerodynamic than a bicycle, which I kind of have my doubts about that. Like maybe better drag coefficient, but it definitely has more frontal area than a bicycle. So I don't know. Like that's how you calculate drag. Is there's an equation with frontal area and drag coefficient to get the actual drag.
Yeah, but
so,
maybe just like a really big dude was sitting on the bicycle at the time.
Yeah, like so much of the drag on a bicycle is the person.
That's all of it.
Yeah, well, fair. Bicycles are almost nothing, But yeah, so I don't know if that's honest, but I find it believable.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it looks aerodynamic. At least they could fool me. So
All right, I'm gonna start selling. Hold on, I'm gonna start selling this. I'm gonna become a paid sponsor or whatever for this fucking app. Look at this. They claim, don't know if it's true, but apparently it gets.
Terrible sponsoring already. Like, go ahead.
This is why I'm not
Yeah,
in marketing. It does claim 1,000 miles on a single charge and 40 miles of solar power driving per day. So it has solar
Yeah.
panels. Very cool. I'm into it.
yeah, and I think that's for the top of the line model. The base model is 250 miles of range, and an MSRP of $26,000. Which,
Yo.
if they can pull that off,
Oh.
I'd be impressed. But I have my doubts about that.
I'm getting ready.
Like anytime,
I'm getting ready to put in a fucking pre-order. I'll put a
like
deposit
they're hand making this out of Kevlar composite. Like that shit ain't cheap. Like
down. 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. Okay, I love this. I'm into this.
now, yeah, that's for the $50,000 model, I believe.
Whatever. I'm
But
with
yeah,
it.
no, I mean
I'm gonna get
the
some,
specs look cool.
I'm gonna get some
so.
coilovers. I'm gonna lower it, and it's it's gonna be.
I'm going to get this so that I can have both sides of the spectrum of aerodynamics.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, there was also going to be for the Dale a station wagon version.
A three-wheeled station.
Oh, that seems
wagon.
If you load the back wrong, that's dangerous.
Yeah,
I love it.
But anyways, so the Aptera, it also has in-wheel hub motors, which I don't know. We talked on the Lordstown episode about how I'm a little skeptical of that technology.
Oh, but very much so.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But looking at it, it looks so cool. I'm captivated. I just want it. I shouldn't look any further into it, but it's cool.
I mean, they claim that the hub wheels give it better torque and better efficiency, but I just have to think that all that unsprung weight
hit a
would be a
bump.
problem.
Yeah, hit a bump.
Yeah.
You'll feel different.
And it looks like they didn't really have a whole lot covering the innards of the motor. So like I don't know, like if a little, like I think we talked about this, a little bit of sand or dirt gets in there, it could really fuck it up. So
seems like a reasonable fear.
yeah. So the base model is front wheel drive only, and then the top of the line has 3 hub motors with 200 horsepower, and like you said, range of 1,000 miles.
I want
200 horsepower in something this light and aerodynamic is bananas.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I got something to say about that. We'll come back to
dude,
that.
that's like that's making me assume that there's probably like a top speed of like 200 miles an hour or something. Probably not literally, but that's a lot for something that aerodynamic.
I don't know if Brian.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in your notes, but if not, I have something. Because I was looking up the specs while we started this recording, so I'm like, I gotta know. And 200 horsepower with very unimpressive specs. So I've got one on my sleeve, which you will be like, how is that possible? And
I've just got a little bit more on the business side of things.
Okay.
So they began accepting pre-orders in December of 2020. And in December of 2021, they said that they began construction on a 80,000 square foot factory and were confident to begin supplying vehicles in the later part of 2022. It says as of January 2022, they are wrapping up their beta model testing and working on a gamma design for the last 6 months. And then once
abandon
that
the beta
done,
model and go with the Chad model.
yeah. And then they're gonna wrap up testing, and begin pre-production pretty soon here, which includes, interior airbags, air conditioning, all that kind of stuff. So that's where things are at. But what do you got on this, Connor?
So I was going to bring up the Polaris slingshot. Because
oh yeah,
I don't know if you guys see those by you, but I see them all the time here in the Chicago area. So that's another, I think, tadpole style trike.
Yeah.
So there's your 2 front wheels, 1 rear wheel. I think the front wheels are driven, but I haven't looked into it. I don't care that much. But I've always wondered, like,
I think they're rear wheel drive. I'm not sure about that.
well, in any case, I've wondered, how much do these cost, and what are they capable of? You know what I mean? Because they look certainly interesting. They're more of a trying to be a motorcycle than like an enclosed thing. I guess you can buy a roof for them, but really they're kind of like open cockpit, like a bike, and you sit side by side. And so, like, the first like base model starts around 20,000. I think the top of the line one's like 35, so they're on the expensive side. And I looked up like the specs. Like, they come with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and it does say rear wheel drive. So the 2-liter puts out 200 horsepower, which is pretty fucking decent. Revs over a little over 8,000 RPM. And the 0 to 60 is 4.9 seconds, which,
Damn.
no, that's slow as shit. Like, how?
Well, it's a lot faster than any car I've owned.
I mean,
Yeah, my 0 to 60 is eventually.
yeah, but when you consider, so the curb weight of this thing, it's showing as 1,600 pounds with 200 horsepower, and it's like around 5 seconds 0 to 60. That seems very slow. I mean, that weighs nothing. I mean,
Is it just because it's only driving the one rear wheel and they just can't get it to hook up?
I
Under any
can't imagine that
circumstances?
that can't possibly be what it is. I don't know, but I'm thinking,
Yeah, I don't know.
I forget what a Miata weighs, but a Miata weighs what 2,400?
Yeah, around that.
And a Miata with 200 horsepower, I think would go faster than this.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. It's just this. All the other trikes we were talking about seemed like they were slow, but they didn't have 200 horsepower.
Yeah.
This seems very slow for 200 horsepower, and 1,600 pounds, and awfully expensive for. I guess. I mean, it's kind of a toy. It's not really made to be
Right.
much of a commuter, I don't think. But I don't know. It seems pretty disappointing. I looked it up and I was like, oh, I always thought these were like super fast, and no, they're just kind of expensive and not that cool. I mean,
But like what I was saying about the other thing is like the electric one. Oh, what was that? The Aptera.
yeah, the Aptera.
Yeah.
Like with that level of aerodynamic, I was saying top speed, not necessarily acceleration.
Yeah, but I mean, no, you were right. Just that thing almost certainly is fast. This, no, the slingshot is kind of a disappointment. I just think because like this is around the 0 to 60 of like a 2003 350Z, and those are slow cars. Stock, oh my god, they're slow. I think they were 5.5 seconds or something 0 to 60, but they also weigh 3,300 fucking pounds. Okay, I mean it's a fucking hog, and it can get up to that speed pretty quick. So this thing, I was just like, this is unimpressive for something that weighs 1,600 pounds. With that much power, I feel like you should really fucking move. So I don't know, kind of lame.
Yeah.
I thought they were. I don't want to say I ever really thought they were cool, but like cool adjacent, maybe they could be. They could be
Intriguing, at least.
Yeah. And then I'm reading this and I'm like, yeah, this is wholly disappointing for that kind of money in a useless vehicle that's like you can't really use for, commuting around or getting groceries and stuff. For a toy, go buy
Yeah.
an old Miata and put a fucking, turbo on it from eBay. That's fun. That's living. There's
another one that I looked at that I kind of skipped over because I thought it was not that interesting, called the Campagna T-Rex, which is made in Quebec, and it's been produced since 1988 with various different motorcycle engines, and it's a pretty similar design, but it has a little bit better performance. It's like 160 horsepower, around 11 or 1,200 pounds, depending on which year it is, and I don't have a 0 to 60 time for it, but it is 3.2 seconds.
Yeah, and it's
so that's
Yeah, see, that's fast.
that's cool. That's very cool. And they were doing that. decades before this fucking expensive ass slingshot. That's what I'm talking about. This is a
Right.
disappointment. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah. They're also saying that they're going to have an electric model coming up soon of that one. So
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm curious because like the 200 horsepower still being slow thing could be like weird gearing or like I don't even know, but that doesn't make sense.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Whatever the reason is. We had a good fast car, but then we put fucking stupid gears in it because I don't know, we're stupid. Like, fuck you. What do you?
Well, I don't know. Like I'm just thinking like if they meant to make it more as like a highway cruiser, so your power doesn't really come in super low end.
right.
I mean, I don't know if
I
you.
was gonna say,
If
this
I
thing
buy,
does not have any torque. Like, do you know the torque?
it
number
does
on
say
there,
the
or does
torque
it
is
just give you
the
horsepower?
torque is 144 pound-feet, so it's not that
Yeah,
high.
for what that is, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not that high, but
it's not a lot of weight to get going. So
Yeah,
you
that's-
think 144 would hook up pretty good and
Yeah,
at least
that's
get it moving fast. What did you say? 5.9 or 4.9 seconds?
4.9.
4.9. Yeah,
That's pathetic.
it's got to be a weird
It
gearing
just
thing.
it makes me think of the way that like 300 horsepower in a modern car versus 300 horsepower in something I would own feels like completely different things.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is like a fairly modern company. They should be able to design it so that it's operates like a modern normal vehicle.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, like, look,
Yeah.
You're
not wrong.
Yeah,
You're
a
not wrong.
Lotus, right? Lotuses don't make that much power. They use Corolla engines, and maybe they make 250, but like they weigh. Well, I mean, probably not much more than this. Incredible, but still theoretically they weigh more than this, and they're faster. I mean, so this is just I don't know, disappointing. And like I said, you want to make a good highway cruiser. I'm like, this is not a good commuter vehicle. Like, I never see these on my way to work. You see these on the weekends. This is somebody's toy. And if I'm buying a toy, I don't want a good fucking highway. If I bought a toy, I want to go fucking fast. I want it.
I want that thing to snap my neck off the line.
Yeah, and this
Like, I want it to hurt.
Yeah, and this doesn't do it. For this kind of money, I'm just like, you could buy anything else. Go buy
Fast, cool, practical. Pick none.
Yeah,
That's my cars.
Yeah, fair enough. No, my shit's actually surprisingly practical and very cool, but slow as fuck.
I will say a WRX hatchback is surprisingly practical. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh,
you can
any
fit a
hot
lot
hatch.
of shit in there.
Yeah, any hot hatch. I love those that era of WRX hatchback. Oh, I got a friend who finally got
It was
one.
the best looking one.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's the best looking one by a mile.
I agree.
Like, don't at me. It's the best. Y'all suck.
I agree.
with your bug eyes. I don't care.
But anyway, I think
Counterpoint, Subaru.
Okay. I do like the Subaru. I think it's cool that it's unique, but every time I look at one, I'm just like, that's a dentist car. Maybe it's just because it's a Saab, but like the body lines and everything, it's just like, yeah, someone drives that is a gigantic nerd.
well,
Yeah, guilty as
Fine.
charged.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's just not my style. It's,
Yeah.
you're a huge nerd. It's cool. It's a cool car. I give it props. But yeah, no, it's just the 11 to 14 WRX looks mean.
yeah,
It looks like a tuner car.
I agree. But
And I'm not
Looks
saying that
aggressive
mine
and-
looks good. Mine looks like a piece of shit. But there are other ones that look cool. So
it's fair. But anyway, that's all
All right.
I had on the slingshot. So yeah, I don't know, trikes and bikes and whatever. Interesting.
And scams.
And scams,
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
scams.
In case anyone cared, just to like interject this completely meaningless fact in there, in case anyone cared, the Campagna T-Rex is the one that Rob Dyrdek had in like Robin Big. If y'all ever watched like Robin Big or Rob Dyrdek's other show that he had before Ridiculousness, he had the T-Rex in it, and I always thought they were really cool when I was a kid.
Huh.
But,
And didn't Brian from Street Fight talk about how he kind of wanted a slingshot at some point, or was that someone else?
Maybe, but I don't remember that
I
one.
don't know.
Okay,
I mean,
never
Brian
mind.
says he wants a lot of things. You kind of just have to ignore it until he goes through with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
All right.
5% of the show is what different thing he wants this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
gotta
he
love it
actually
though.
gets is mostly Legos, though. So.
Oh, of course we love it. It's why we have a show. Never forget, listeners, we all met through Street Fight.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll keep you updated on any more three-wheeled scams that we find in the future. But I think that's all we got for now. Anything else before we wrap up, guys?
Nope, that's it for me. I actually got to be heading out the door pretty much now. So,
All right, adios, Brandon.
We killed it time-wise.
Fucking, we did it. We did it for once. This is the first time we've ever finished on time.
Most efficient episode ever recorded. Also, surprisingly long for having been as efficient as we were.
It's just we have so much content to jam in there.
Yeah, we're just bursting with content at all times.
The most podcast per podcast available anywhere on this.
Better than those anarcho tech guys.
Yeah, fuck them.
Guys,
yeah, they need to find a real ideology.
Hey now.
I don't know. Follow us on social media and stuff, and I don't know, rate and review our podcast if you like our show. Especially because we now have some competition, so give us a good rating, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like we're making any money.
Keep us in that number one slot of this tiny niche.
All right, everybody, take care.
All right, good night.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Capitalism works, if it works at all, because it always has socialism to bail it out and to subsidize it.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
In the 1980s, 50 corporations controlled most news media in America. By 1992, that number shrunk to 24. And today, only 6 corporations control 90% of everything Americans see, hear, and read. The money spent on the Iraq War alone, which killed 1 million people, 5% of Iraq's entire population, and planted the seeds for ISIS to flourish, could have covered all global investments to halt climate change trends.